A New Way of Living by the Lawrence Batley Theatre's Young Company.
Beep, beep, beep. The Batman alarm clock strikes like a foghorn in a storm, yet it does not wake Adrienne Speculo, who lies sound asleep in the folds of her winter duvet, which is black with gold and magenta constellations. As the alarm clock hollers on and on, waiting and waiting for her to wake, when dreaming those Oz lockdown dreams, Adrienne is harder to wake than climbing the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest.
Willow's room is an old-fashioned large space with exposed wooden floorboards. It is a cold room with an open fire in the centre of the wall. She has an old metal four-posted bed with a flimsy white sheet. In the far corner near the window there is a wooden rocking chair. As a room, it is not one meant for a young girl. It is only ever meant to be a spare room.
Nate's house was simple enough to live in, and simple enough to enjoy life as it comes. Situated in the side of a cliff face in the moors overlooking a field which his family happened to own. It was lush green colour, full of sheep, well, at least this one was. The farm had many fields containing everything from crops to other animals such as cows and pigs.
Riley's room is dimly lit, the only light coming from the small window in the corner and the various neon signs hung on the black walls. On the far left lay her bed, strewn with pillows and blankets. A laptop sat beneath the mound, ready for the tons of Zoom calls she was being forced to attend. On the other side of the room, her guitars hung, one electric and one acoustic, the cerulean surface gleaming as usual. Dangerously close to toppling off, her bow perched on its hanger next to them.
Jessica sat in her bedroom with its millennial pink walls just staring directly back at her, just as they had for about 10 weeks. Focusing her eyes on something else, her gaze moved towards the organised desk, with its pens in their pots, which would have ordinarily been used for her homework. But she had lost all motivation to do tasks. She can see her exercise book on the surface, pandemics and disasters through history. She looks at the book. She feels as though she's just surrounded by deaths and viruses, alone.
During his days in lockdown, James had come to realise how much he touches his face. Every day he's been on a walk, past the same bushes and trees, past the same postbox, rusting round the edges, past the same dog that barks and jumps up at the gate, excited to see another person. Sadly, James has been on the walk so many times by this point, it's becoming really repetitive and boring.
Jan spends a lot of her time in the garden. It's her favourite place. She sits on her swinging chair and looks around. The gnomes looking out in glee, but Jan looks back at them in despair. She has a little hut. It's her hut, the only place where she can be alone. It's her hut and nobody else's. She paints the walls herself. They're only grey, but 2 of the walls are full of canvases. She has a table full of unfinished projects and paints, also drawers bursting full of art supplies.
B has a white wood bed that is adorned by a floral duvet cover, a homemade drum kit that she is always adding to and improving, a Beatles rug, a blue dog bed for Ringo, and green walls. Her room is in the attic. There's a skylight that she can see the meadow from, a small white bookshelf full of non-fiction books. It's quite disorganised because she sees herself as a bit of an inventor, creating new devices to help save the environment.
Beck's bedroom has undeniable character. Well worn and definitely on its last legs, his stereo is never switched off. Or almost never anyway. Sometimes he's out of the house. His rubbish bin crouches in the corner like some sort of goblin that feeds on failed artwork and school letters. The table across the room from his bed is covered in work-in-progress paintings and drawings.
The apartment was small and cramped, hardly big enough for one person. Luna's room was no bigger than a box room and contained only a bed. She wakes up to the sound of her dog, Stanley, at her door. Rubbing her eyes, she stumbles into the kitchen to feed him as Grandma cooks breakfast. The television plays quietly in the background.
Rosie's stroppy alarm clock wakes her up at 9:30 sharp every morning. She gets out of her moody bed and pulls on her workout gear and goes for a run.
It gives her energy. She gets back from home and attempts to get on with boring work, which she does at her sleepy desk. She usually manages a couple of hours before lunch, after which she is absorbed by her phone until tea time.
As Jim drew back the lazy curtains, the window joyfully shone a bright yellow light on the room. The darkness was pulled away from the tired wardrobe, and the light revealed many stickers that had been put on it over time. The intelligent bookcase cried out for more books to fill its shelves, but there was no spare money to do so. Its strong wooden sides had survived for many years, but would soon collapse under its own weight. The light shone on the cruel, threadbare carpet, waiting for another small item to be dropped and lost in its depths. The speedy bed creaked under the small weight of its owner, glad to have a break after a long night's work.
The walls are an off-white colour and the ceiling is high, but Willow loves the window as it looks out onto the whole farm. She will often sit on the window seat just watching all the animals.
James pushes the soggy Rice Krispies round his bowl. His mum replaced dairy milk with soy milk as an attempt to make him eat healthier, and it turns out he very much prefers dairy. He thinks about his friends and how he misses their company and their ability to properly make him laugh.
Jessica watches the old man, who lives opposite, walk past every day with his stick. She wonders if he has anyone to talk to or socialise with. Where's he get his shopping from? It's way too dangerous and risky for him to go out and buy it. So where? It is so sad. She tries to wave, but half the time he doesn't see. But he sees her on the odd occasion, and they share a moment of happiness.
Jim's gloomy clock ticked mournfully in the corner, ticking down the hours until its batteries would run out, not to be replaced for a long time. The slow, evil, creaking door swung open with an awful screech as he finally remembered to have his breakfast. As the room was left abandoned, the icy painting assessed the room. The notice board swung gently as an unforgiving breeze blew from a crack in the joyful window. The ripped, spontaneous, now unused school bag hung sadly by the door.
Disorganisation and chaos capture the room as grubby jeans and filthy hoodies line the bedroom floor, hiding her mum's floral tile design, which sickens Adrienne. Plates, dishes and cutlery are covered with the remains of mouldy beans and off milk as they lay forgotten under her bed with mounds of dust. The book The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe is open on her desk, which describes the house as being the sort you never got to the end of. If she was asked to describe her flat that her and her mum were living in with her little sister, she would describe it as the exact opposite. It was the sort of flat that you turned in any direction and saw a wall.
The airy wardrobe in the corner of the room had its doors flung open, revealing Riley's collections of leather jackets and band shirts, matching the posters plastered around her room. On top of it sits her prized skateboard and helmet, dust gathering on the wheels caked in dirt.
Bee loves the ivy growing up the front wall of her house and imagines being able to climb up it and look at the garden. They have a small front garden with some flowers that Bee planted, hyacinths, roses and poppies. In the back garden they have a patio with a seating area, a swing set and a greenhouse where Bee likes to grow her tomatoes.
At the top of the garden there were some stone steps that led up from the house. The steps led to two large oak doors. The closest door was the entrance to a broom closet, so nothing exciting in there. The bigger oak door had a brass knob and a sign that read, "Caution, do not enter." Nate peered in. On the inside, geometric triangles were plastered all over the wall and ceiling.
Luna gazes out of her window at the view, picks up her pencil and begins to draw the world she is so keen to protect.
Jan found herself loving lockdown. Having to stay at home, she hasn't missed any of her friends, or the people who she sometimes hung out with. And getting away with doing minimal work, all she needs is her dog, with his curly black poodle hair and his emerald green sparkly eyes. He's always with Jan. When she goes to sleep, when she wakes up, wherever she is, he goes. He is truly her best friend.
The walls in Beck's room are entirely black, aside from a series of paint splatters. He doesn't mind. It adds character as far as he's concerned. A wardrobe as outlandish as his wouldn't be complete without his far-out collection of jewellery and accessories scattered around his Hollywood-style vanity mirror. With lights, of course.
Rosie finds herself thinking her life must be just how everyone expects it to be. But on reflection, she thinks you shouldn't judge someone you don't know. Everyone must have feelings they're hiding.
I met Willow after I was bullied at the beginning of Year 7. Willow helped me up and talked to me. She's always been quite kind and empathetic, which is probably the main reason I consider her a good friend. She's also quite smart and often outshines everyone in class, which puts a smile on most of the teachers' faces. Sometimes, though, I find her to be opinionated, and she often doesn't listen to other people's opinions, which annoys me. But then again, I do get frustrated easily. I've never been to her house, as I'm not a big fan of farms, and as they smell and can be loud with all the animals. I have a couple of classes with her, and sometimes we chat after lesson and have a laugh. She can be really funny sometimes. I find her to be like no one I've ever met, as she came from an orphanage and has adopted parents, which I find interesting. I find that we have some things in common, such as having a strong enjoyment in chocolate, being imaginative, and occasionally writing stories, although I prefer to do most of it in my head, instead of having to write it down, wasting paper, ink, and the fact that it takes more time to write stuff out. Also, we have both been bullied, although I struggle to intervene or stand up against bullies, as I fear it'll make things way worse for me, which, now that I say it, kind of sounds a little selfish. I wouldn't consider her my best friend, but that's not to say that she's not a good one. The last time I saw her was on the last day of school. I didn't see her for the whole day, and only saw her after walking out the school gates. I wish I could have said bye, as I don't have her on my contacts. But I'm sure we can catch up when lockdown is over. We'll meet again.
I met Nate when I went into my bedroom. It was the most curious thing, a boy in my room. I didn't know how he came to be there, but there he was, sitting on my bed. I felt most confused to begin with, and it was almost like he didn't see me. Well, until I slowly closed the creaky door, that got his attention. He turned around with a startled look on his face and finally saw me. He was just as confused as me. I don't understand why he was in my room. After the initial shock for us both, we began to chat and found out that he had lost his real parents too. We talked and talked for such a long time. He doesn't really have any friends, and neither do I. He showed me something called an Xbox. What a strange contraption. He said he could talk into it and he could hear other voices. I met his online friends called Unicorn Dancer 123. What a very strange name.
I met Jim, about half a year ago. He's quite a character. Not in a bad way, of course, but a word to describe him would be quirky. We met at a design course. It was there I discovered me and him shared a love of design, but not the same design. He liked virtual and game design, whereas my specialty was more graphic design and architecture. On the day we met, we had separate classes, but every chance we had, we would talk about anything and everything, from books and home life to friends and TV. After the day, I think we both felt envy for each other. He went to school and had lots of friends, but was tight on money, and I was the other way around. The story that I have to tell is one of Jim's fondest memories. I won't go into too much detail, but let's say I would still be washing cars with him if you want for that. I got fired, he didn't. Overall, in my opinion, I think Jim's a very respectable person, and always a good laugh. The short while I've known him is the happiest me and him have both been. I hope to see him again soon. We will meet again.
I met Adrienne when someone knocked me into the middle of the park whilst I was carrying my art project, sending a lot of papers flying across the floor. Adrienne was the only person who helped me pick them up and chase them, even if she did give me the papers back in a slightly aggressive way that almost knocked me over again. She seemed angry and sad about something. After giving me my papers, she briskly walks in the direction of the library. We will meet again.
I first met Riley when I was woken by the ear-splitting sound of shattering glass. I sat up straight in my bed, rather like someone had stuck an electric wire down the back of my pyjamas. I was 8 at the time and looked a lot like Mabel does now. I had ash blonde bunches and a straight fringe which covered the top of my eyes. It was before the days where I discovered semi-permanent hair dye in Alan Walker. Like I said, I sat up in my bed and I saw that my window was smashed, its panes scattered across my bedroom floor, with a large pebble in the middle. I stomped over to the window, heaven knows how I didn't step on the glass, and saw the house next door, which had been uninhabited for some years now, had a family living inside. The whole building had had a paint job, and the room next door was filled with Metallica merchandise galore. Hiding just in plain sight was a girl around my age with long, unruly black locks and blue tips, and who can forget her aqua eyes? I then realised that that girl must have been throwing the rocks at my window and smashed it, and that's why she was hiding. Dawned by realisation, I lost it and recited every curse word I knew at the time. Luckily for Riley, the list was a lot shorter than my current one. I then attempted to stick my middle finger up with my arm reached through the window, but with the foolish attempt, I cut my arm on one of the remaining shards of glass. The next day, I was in hospital being treated by Riley's mother. I didn't like Riley. I didn't like her at all. It wasn't until the one day when Verity had lied to everyone that I had the bandage on my arm for flailing about because I didn't want to go on the baby slide, that I was being bullied by some bullies when Riley came and saved me. I was so grateful that I decided to put the window incident in the past and dyed my hair, discovered dystopian literature, was well on my way to me when I had a fateful night with Riley. We had become close. Like, really good friends close. When she told me the dreadful news, she was moving. For the first time in what seems like forever, I actually couldn't hold back tears. I actually forgot to keep up appearances. I gave her my number and left before I could mess things up anymore. When I was 10, I got a new phone. I'd forgotten all about Riley and deleted her number, not recognising it. You see, I'd forgotten all about Riley until my sister Mabel asked me who the girl in the picture of us was. Then it all came back, the window, the fight, the friendship, the feelings that I never got to confess. Those feelings are dead now, but still, out of hate, friendship or romance, I know we will meet again.
I first met Beck when I was 12, so 2 years ago. I was helping out in the shop since we had the day off school, and he came in looking for some CDs. Turned out we had similar music tastes, so I put some on. Of course, some of the customers weren't too thrilled, but they just had to deal with it. Not that they had much of a choice. After that, we started hanging out on a Saturday. One time, this really annoying woman came in, and she'd bought a few things before. She had this massive rant before she realised that it was actually my family that owned the shop. I haven't seen Beck in a while since lockdown. We will meet again.
I met Jessica when she was being hassled by some bullies from her school. Being older and generally more intimidating looking than them meant that I didn't have to intervene for long before they slinked away. I've known her for a year now. I wasn't sure if I liked her at first. She was quite shy and reserved, but I couldn't ask for a more reliable friend. We get along surprisingly well. I think I help her to be less afraid, to take risks and to have more fun, and she stops me from getting into too much trouble. Jess has been quite down since her parents' divorce, but I'll always be there for her. I don't even know my dad, so it's hard for me to relate to what she's going through, but she knows I'll always be there to listen. When she's away at boarding school, I can only speak to her over the phone, so it's something we're very used to. I miss her. It feels like years since we've seen each other face to face, but I'm not worried. We will meet again.
I met B when we were on a chat forum for our shared passion of saving the planet. My first impression of her was that she was caring, sympathetic, and had a goal of wanting to save the environment, just like me. She was very chatty and bubbly, and she was so loud. At first, I didn't think we got on, but we're all different, right? And besides, it's not like we'll meet up. I think she says she lives in Holland. I've never been to Holland, but I've seen how green and colourful it is, with all its beautiful tulips in the meadows. I saw this on the Discovery Channel. Thinking of those beautiful flowers, my eye draws to our garden. I say garden, it's really low maintenance with just some dull grey paving slabs and a few potted plants which Mum did just to brighten it up. Put it this way, I don't think we'll be entering the Harrogate Flower Show. I wonder what Bea can see from her window. I bet it would be all the windmills in the distance and all the beautiful colours, not at all like Hollowgate. Bea was chatting the other day about her pen pal Luna, and from all the subjects that they could have been talking about, like the ozone layer, traffic pollution, or oil being spilled, they chose food. Bea said that her favourite was vegan shepherd's pie, but Luna, or should I say lunatic, as I call her, said tofu and edamame noodles. Honestly. All we tend to have is convenience food, as Dexter, my little brother, demands so much time from my mum, and all he eats is bright orange mushed up slop, which he always gets around his mouth, leaving him looking like a clown. I wish I could eat vegan shepherd's pie, or even that tofu stuff. In the chat, Bea says she wants to stop climate change from getting any worse. Maybe our paths will cross when we're both an international convention for climate change. The air will be cleaner. Our children will play with toys that aren't made from plastic, or mindless electronic gadgets that numb our minds. I hope I can meet my virtual friend. We will both keep on campaigning for our beautiful planet. We will meet again.
I met Luna when I was 5 years old, but we only became pen pal friends when we were both 10. Our grandmothers were pen pal friends when they were younger too. One day, when my grandmother went to visit Luna's grandmother, and she met Luna, and she reminded her of me. Once a year, our grandmothers used to meet up in each other's countries. It was 2013 when Luna's grandmother came to visit mine, but this time it was different, because she had a companion by her side. This companion was Luna. Her grandmother had brought her along because there was no one to look after her at home. As soon as my grandmother met her and got to know her, she realised how alike we were, so asked my mum and dad if I could stay at hers, while Luna and her grandmother were in Holland. When it was time for them to go home, Luna and I were absolutely devastated, so our grandmothers suggested that we should become pen pal friends, as that is how they met and kept in touch when they were younger. And now they had this unbreakable bond. Till this day, me and Luna are still sending messages to each other, and I can't wait to meet her again someday. We will meet again.
I met Rosie on holiday in Turkey 3 years ago when we were staying at the same resort. We still talk to each other on chat rooms and sometimes even call. We don't live very close to each other, so we try to keep in contact when we can. I enjoyed the holiday to Turkey and found it so fun walking around the city, and with a friend too. I hope that someday we will meet again.
I met Jen when I was walking to school one bright morning. She'd walked in and fell over. Just about the whole school was laughing at her. I felt bad, so I went up to her and said, "I hope you're okay. I'm Rosie." She then replied with, "I'm fine, I guess. And I'm Jem. Do you by any chance know where room 4B is?" It just so happened to be the same room I was heading to, so I said, "Come on, I'll show you." As we walked to class, she told me about her old school. When we got to the classroom, I said, "Right, here we are. Take a deep breath and walk in with me." Jen took a deep breath. The noisy room instantly felt silent as she walked in. All eyes turned and looked at her. "Guys, this is Jen. She is new. Now stop staring," I said. "We all love new people," I told her as we walked to 2 empty chairs. Now that everyone is talking again, I can tell she's beginning to feel better. It's about 3 months after, and it's the end of school, and the 6-week holidays. I remember saying to Jen, as the final bell rang, "Finally, I can't wait to play at home and maybe we could have a sleepover." I know we will meet again.
I met James when we were kids. He's still just as annoying. I saw him in the shops today with his friends. He was trying to act all cruel. He ignored me. When he's not around his friends, he's not that bad. But I would never tell him that. But to be honest, I think he already knows. I would not trust him as far as I could throw him. And that's not far. And anyway, I ignored him too, and carried on buying my tea. A pop noodle, of course. Next week, my dad's having a lockdown social distancing barbecue, and my dad and his mum are friends. So I'm sure he'll be coming too. I guess we'll meet again.
We will meet again.
I woke up today and everything looked so dull, so grey. The curtains screamed across the rail as I threw them open. The light made a pitiful attempt to throw itself through the now grime-filled window. I felt my stomach rumble for the first, but not the last time today. Money was running short. We all knew it. We just didn't want to discuss it. I wondered to myself how much longer we would be able to hang on to the house for. I looked mournfully at the clock. Its batteries exhausted after many months of joyful ticking. Its hands stopped at 1 minute to midnight, ironically acting like a doomsday clock, counting down the time until it, along with the rest of the house, would have to be sold to pay for food. All I could hope for the future was to get a job as a bin man. Never mind my dream of being able to support my family in the future and give back to them everything they had given to me. There had been days like this before, days where it felt like my entire life was falling apart, but we had got through it, together.
My mind bursts with words to describe every aspect of this old, new world. My brain exposed with adjectives: interesting, exciting, confusing, frightening. I realise I'm trapped. I want to adventure, I want to explore, but it seems like my world is trapped within these four walls. My future, my past crammed into one, thunder and lightning, an electrical storm. I feel lost, hopeless, and was all alone. But now there's this new boy who's made my world his new home. A brand new connection, a light in the darks. Perhaps, just perhaps, I can leave Noah's Ark.
I realised that the only thing I knew I wanted for my future is to be a wildlife conservationist. So since then, I've been brainstorming and have come up with some new ideas. Idea 1. Meet up with Luna again and travel around the world together trying to help save the planet. Idea 2. Try to find something else to make PPE out of, since we have a problem with plastic pollution before, and now we're going to have an even bigger one with all these face masks and gloves people are throwing out. Idea 3. Stop people bullying my brother about our dad. And you know what? I want to stop all bullying as well. Sorry, I've got to go now. Even though I have so many more ideas, Mum wants me to take Ringo on a walk.
Food and water are what men need. For me, it's to see Verity bleed. That day when she flipped and left a small seed, and that seed has grown into a great weed. You think her begging would leave me freed? I need him. I need his arms round me. I need him to be free. I need him. I'm so blind, I need him to see. It's all wrong, now he's dead and gone. He's my lost dream. Toys and gadgets are what kids crave. I'm lost, walls about to cave. Dear Riley, I like you so. You're the queen, I'm the knave. I guess I'm still waiting to be saved. Riley, you're not what I crave. And Verity's tears are not what I need. I crave him, his arms tight round me. I crave him to be free. I crave him, but I'm so blind, I crave him to see. But it's all wrong, now he's dead and gone. He's my lost dream. So he's what I need. He's my lost dream. He's everything in between. He's my craving. Now tears stream from me, can they redeem? But now he's dead and gone. This is my song. I miss you, Father.
It's not very often I talk about my hopes and expectations for the future. In my opinion, they aren't something I like to discuss. mainly because I feel that I need to know a person so they don't laugh at me or my dreams, which sometimes can be really soul-crushing. Well, here we go anyway. These are my hopes and dreams. Some of you know, I'm a huge fan and I'm studying architecture and graphic design. In the future, I hope to have made some sort of income from a design I've created or a design that I've built. Along the way, I hope to meet new people that share similar interests. Lastly, I have one motto I always stick to: get back up.
When I'm older, I want to be an artist in Paris. Ah, Paris, the Eiffel Tower, the galleries. One day I hope to have a gallery, my own gallery, aligned with my art. I mean, okay, maybe not a whole gallery, just a few pictures. I just hope, I wish, when I'm older, I'm away from England, away from my family. A fresh start, that's all I want, a fresh start. That's if I pass my GCSEs. I'm not the golden child at school, so any lessons that I'm in, except art, I don't try in. I suppose the only one that can make my dreams come true is me.
I'm sat here with my dirty blonde hair covering my AirPods playing some random song on shuffle. I don't even think it has any meaning. It's serving its purpose though, as I unenthusiastically shake a plastic rattle at my baby brother Dexter, trying to keep him occupied whilst he eagerly waits for his tea. He's salivating in anticipation, and he reminds me of a programme I saw on the Discovery Channel, where a baby bird was waiting for its mother to drop a worm. Dexter even occasionally lets out a shrill similar to the baby bird, as his patience is being pushed to the limit. "Come on, Mum," I cry out in my head. Over my music, I heard the whirring of the microwave. Now my patience is being tested. I feel claustrophobic. I feel angry. I feel trapped. It's just the world. I feel it has pressed the self-destruct button. We are surrounded by plastic and cheap electronical components for our ever-growing gadgets. It seems we cannot do anything for ourselves. It's all done with the touch of a button. Our food comes in a plastic pot which we cook for 2 minutes, stir, and repeat. It says on the pack, "Careful, it's hot." Our clothes are changed in factories. We wear them with glee, but the sad reality is they've come at a price. Long hard shifts, earning a penny, or 3. We drive in our cars to escape the grime of city life and drive to the coastline to relax and unwind. But as we drive, we are totally unaware of what the car pollution is doing to the air. We have a swim, but dangers are easy to see, for the oil spillage and dumped debris are making it hard for our fish to breathe. We eat our lunch, which is sandwiches and coke, and pack our rubbish up back to take home. Things would be a little better if people had the same thought and care. But alas, no. They just dump it everywhere. So stop all the polluting. I beg you to stop. Or we should be worried the world will just pop. Me, Luna, and my friend B share a passion which is plain to see. We care for our planet, for our failures and wrongs. So let's all unite and make this world strong.
Dear Diary, I want to be involved in film and TV, see my name on the back of a DVD. I want to act, direct and write, but I feel like my chances are tight. I wish to be involved in comic book adaptations, but I believe that there are some limitations. Sometimes I struggle to speak and or think. I can tell that my face is quickly turning pink. An amateur, unoriginal is what I could be. Maybe it's not right for me. Maybe I just can't see. It's annoying and it pains me because it's my dream. I want my life to be nice and smooth like a water stream. I know this sounds negative, but life isn't easy, and opportunities like that are rare. It's simply my biggest wish. If I want to get to where I want to be, I must overcome my fears, and then be able to show off my skills. I feel I should continue watching and reading, then I can start succeeding. It won't be easy, but I guess we'll see.
I'm really annoyed. School is shut because of Corona. I was taking drama classes every Tuesday. Now I can't. The reason I was doing drama is because I find it fun. and I have done from a very young age. I love dressing up, I love performing, and just the whole vibe of it. Also, I really need to step up my game in PE. You see, Mia is the top girl. We now hate each other. We used to be best friends until she betrayed me. Now she's trying to make my high school life a misery. Like, I was top girl. I was doing great. I had loads of friends. I had a reputation. Until she made me hurt my leg in PE. Then I had to take 3 weeks off. During that time, she took my place. She took my friends, my life and my reputation. Well, now I'm at the bottom again. I'm supposed to be getting my revenge, but I'm not allowed out because my mum said if you go out you could contract an illness. It's annoying because I'm 12, not 2. Anyway, I can't talk for long. Mum says I have to do schoolwork, so I've got to go now. Wish me luck, or send help. This is living hell.
Lockdown. So fun, I know. I mean, it's one thing to not go outside for a few days, maybe. A few weeks, the worst. But a few months? I don't know if I'm ever going to get out at this point. I mean, the others got to meet up the other day. I couldn't go, what with Mum being a doctor and all. Meeting up on Zoom is alright, but it's not exactly the same. Especially with school. Work's so different and it's not exactly easier. And I'm sure some people aren't doing it. It'll be so weird once we go back, after being isolated for so long. It'll be crazy weird. Once we're finally allowed out, I'll be able to get back to everything. I've got a couple of competitions to prepare for. I can't wait though.
I doubt I've ever been this bored. The world had to cancel every party and show. My schoolwork is getting put off or ignored while my anticipation continues to grow. Restricted and halted by budgets and rules, I dream of the space that I need. The world is led by clowns and fools, possessed and preoccupied by greed. The lingering feeling of ennui that only exists to drain keeps me motivated and free to believe that life will start up again. I can't wait for more freedom, to live my life, to have more fun, to sing and dance and paint. So even now I've got the feeling I don't have long to wait. I really don't know the direction of my future, but I'm optimistic about the adventure, because wherever I am, I feel connected to you and know that you're adventuring too.
The world was a gift, something to be treasured, to protect the animals that protect us. The greenest grass, the fluffiest clouds, are things that we were given. We must respect, we must protect, we must love.
This radio play was written and performed as part of the LBT's Young Companies digital project. A New Way of Living was performed by Ashlyn, Billy, Evie, George, John, Lily, Lola, Louisa, Lucas, Matilda, Megan and Shona.